we are having. Speaking of leaders, when we did our scheduled release show, Charles Barkley joined us and said, of all the dynamic duos around the NBA, we're asking, can the supporting cast be good enough? But his question about the Philadelphia 76ers, can the two stars, Sam, be good enough? Are Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, after being highly criticized for their performance in the playoffs last year, be capable of taking that next step?
I think so, and I think last year was good for those guys. I think it was good for Ben Simmons to get beat up in the media and get criticized for his lack of inability to be able to shoot a jump shot and make free throws. I think for Joel Embiid, his lack of being in shape like he should and being able to give you 82 games and taking care of himself. So, but when you look at what Elton Brand did in reshaping this basketball team, look what he did. He brought in a guy like Al Horford. He re-signed Tobias Harris. So when you look at this Philadelphia team and then you read the reports how Ben Simmons been in the gym, working on his jump shot, working on his game. I think for Philadelphia, this season is make or break. When you look at this basketball team, if they don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals and get to the finals, I think it's going to be some major changes in Philadelphia because on paper, this team is solid. They got size. They're athletic. They can put the ball in the basket. They can defend. And you got Ben Simmons at 6'10", playing the point guard, and you got arguably the most talented center in Joel Embiid holding down the post. And if you look at that roster from top to bottom, this Philadelphia team is deep. They're experienced, and then when you add a guy like Al Horford, hey, the sky's the limit for this team. They should be able to upend Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference.
But one more thing that they also are, expensive. Joel Embiid signed to a long-term deal. Yep. Ben Simmons has been locked into a long-term deal. This team is going to go as far as their best two players go.
Tobias Harris got a new long-term deal, right? Yep. So all three of those guys have to play at a high level. Everything you said.
Guess who didn't get a long-term deal?
Who that?
The coach.
Oh, okay. That's another conversation, too. But if those three guys, Smitty, can play what we think they can play, then I'm believing with you. The only small concern, letting a guy like J.J. Redick walk away. Yes, you brought in Richardson. We all would agree J.J.'s a better outside shooter. The spacing on the floor, if you have Tobias Harris, Al Horford, Ben Simmons, and Embiid on the floor, who's going to be on the floor for spacing?
Run. Okay, hey, don't play half court. Get up and down. Look, you got some thoroughbreds. Release them. Let those guys get up and down the court.
In the playoffs, when the game slows down, and that was their problem in the playoffs. When we went to a half-court set, they couldn't find someone else knock down shots.
I love Ben Simmons, and I know he's young.
Right.
But whenever you're playing that point guard position, things has to stop, and me and the coach has to be on the same page. When Joel Embiid's in a game and he has pretty much a mismatch, if I'm Ben Simmons, I got to stop what I'm doing and say, we're going to you, big fella. For me, Sam, 3D, and Jared, I don't see the chemistry between Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to my liking yet as of last year. But they can get better. They were young. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to.
All right, real quick, let's go around the table here. The Boston Celtics, last year finishing 4th in the East. We mentioned how much of a disappointment. With Kemba Walker in there and another year for these younger guys, Boston Celtics, are they better, worse, or the same as they were last year?
I'm going to say worse from this standpoint. They may finish higher. They may finish 4th or 3rd. But if you look at the East outside of Milwaukee and Philadelphia, the East is not that strong.
Quickly, Smitty?
Well, I think it's going to be hard to replace an Al Horford. I love their team, but missing Al Horford, everything he did on and off the court, I think worse.
I'm going to go with you, Smitty, worse. I love Kemba to death, but losing Al Horford, he's such a glue guy, no maintenance guy. He's going to sorely be missed.
Okay, let's move on now to the Toronto Raptors. 3D, what do we think of Toronto after losing Kawhi Leonard?
We know that they are a solid team of guys that are going to play the right way, but obviously we talked about earlier in the show with Sam that you cannot replace a guy like Kawhi Leonard with another just regular player and think you can get back to the Eastern Conference Finals. So with that being said, guys, it's going to be a rebuilding year. You get your ring, you kind of live what you've done in the past, but I don't see them making any kind of noise in the Eastern Conference.
Well, think about the pecking order. So let's say Pascal Siakam does what Kawhi Leonard did. Then who's going to do what Pascal did?
Right.
And then if you find a guy that did what Pascal did, who's going to find that guy? So that's the problem that you have in Toronto when you're trying to replace Kawhi Leonard. Look, Toronto got the best roster from top to bottom as far as when you talk about role players and guys knowing their identity and playing within the system and playing together. But you lose that one guy. You lose arguably the best player on both ends of the court in the league. And so for me to replace that guy, it would be hard to replace him with just another all-star, another good player. You're talking about replacing a guy that may be the best two-way player in the league. I don't see it happening. I still think they're a playoff team, but I think they're going to struggle with their identity. Who do you go to at the waning minutes of a game? Where the ball used to go to Kawhi, who does it go to now?
All right, final storyline here in the Eastern Conference. The reigning MVP, again the favorite to win it this upcoming season, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was the best player on the best regular season team last year. Is Giannis now capable of being the best player on the best team in basketball, period?
Well, we know his talent is upside, and there's a lot of things he need to add to his game. But I think no matter how well or how much he adds to his game, Sam, in 3D, I look at what they lost. And I know they brought in some players. Malcolm Brogdon, Mirotic, and some of the guys they lost. I love Chris Middleton and Bledsoe. I don't know with this roster right now if they could get back to being the best team in the regular season or being one of those teams that we're looking at could win the Eastern Conference. I think it's going to be a tough road for Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks.
How well did Giannis accept being the best player this past year, and what did you work on to see if you can do it again?
Shooting. He's got to become a better shooter. If he don't improve his shooting, it's not going to happen.
You know what the difference, though, between him and Ben Simmons you talked earlier? Giannis was willing to try and fail, willing to do things in the offense to help his team. From the beasts in the East to the Wild West, we come back with our forecast.